The story of the Victor Jenkins Boys Club is the story of American values that reach back to the 30s.
In a pinch, I can be tougher than you are, and I guess maybe this is the pinch.
Only instead of Spencer Tracy, they had Cy Wright dishing out tough love.
Everybody else in the room would say, lick, lick, lick. You had to go find coach, and he'd have that paddle. And, you knew not to do it again.
If you think you're going to make a plow jockey out of me.
And instead of Mickey Rooney, they have Billy Covington.
My parents were divorced, and my dad wasn't around, and the counselors and the coaches and the staff at the Boys Club played a real big part in my life.
As far as I can remember, this was it right here.
It started back in 1933 at the corner of Jefferson and 35th Streets. Pearson DeLoach's dad was an original.
Back in those days, it was tough raising young men, to do right. Daddy just fell right in line with Judge Jenkins.
Mark Stevens' dad came in 1935. And the man who was like a father to Cliff McCurry, Nick Mamalakis, was a constant presence.
The Jenkins Boys Club was something that Mr. Mamalakis really had a passion for.
But it was Judge Victor Jenkins himself who saw a need and engaged it.
During the Depression, during the 30s, Judge Jenkins, he saw a lot of boys hanging in the streets with nothing to do. So he actually started the Boys Club in his basement on Jefferson Street.
The Jefferson Athletic Club became a hub for the young men of Savannah of that era. And those young men grew up and brought their sons to learn about life from sports and mentors and each other.
The club was just our home away from home. I started going to the club in 1963. I was only 6 years old. I remember standing underneath the baskets looking up at them going, I'll never be tall enough to shoot at this basket. My grandmother owned a house right there behind Taylor's Restaurant on 39th and Abercorn. A big old house there, and she used to drop us off on the way to work, me and my two brothers, and we'd walk there and spend the whole day in the summer.
Something's gotta give, something's gotta give, something's gotta give.
When the Jefferson Athletic Club outgrew Jefferson Street, it was Savannah's Johnny Mercer who opened his checkbook and made the move to Lincoln Street possible.
From the time I was about 12, 13 years old, I'd ride my bike over there and spend the afternoon playing basketball, shooting pool, swimming in the swimming pool. I see him on the street. It's just, where do you know that fella from? Where do you know that fella from? From the Boys Club back, growing up. It's just a mix of neighborhood kids and people from all over. It's really just a blessing to think back now on all the people that we know from the Boys Club.
Apart from friendship, basketball was the strongest sports thread running through the Boys Club. From City League teams in the black and white era to over 300 kids playing today in programs at the gym on Waters Avenue. For all of those youngsters, the Jenkins Boys Club has meant a lot more than shooting from the foul line.
Cy Wright was the director during that time, and he got Coach Harold Scott from Savannah High to come over one night and look at me during the 10th grade playing at the Boys Club. Next year I went out and made Savannah High's team in the 75. I was a starter and got a college scholarship, and all that comes back to the Boys Club's influence.
With more flourish and more growth to Savannah's south side, the Jenkins Club moved again to the current building on Waters Avenue, courtesy of the Exchange Club.
I remember when the Exchange Club took a leap of faith and sold and moved out here and built this club. And I had the privilege to coach my son in his basketball through this program. Oh, it was great to have my son to be able to coach him and some of his friends.
There you go.
And now the door's beginning to open for girls to join the club. Already, Calvary's softball team uses the Boys Club field for home games.
Hopefully one day we'll be able to have girls here all day like boys during the summer.
We do not want to do it until we can give them a quality program and quality facilities that they can come into.
The culture of the Jenkins Boys Club has been passed from Cliff to his boys Jamie and Lee, from Mike to his son Michael, from Mark to his boys, and so on, all the way back to 1933 and going forward as far as the eye can see.
There's so many homes where both parents are having to work, and the children need a place to go where they can get positive reinforcement and people that care about them and teaching them skills.
I'd like to see us meet the needs of the community. If it's volleyball, we'll offer volleyball. If it's developing more swimming programs and aquatic programs, go for it. We'll have a place for them to play, have programs for them in the summertime. We want them to learn how to be good young people. We want to develop people and to be good, productive members of Savannah. And it's been that way since 1933, and we want it to stay that way.